Welcome, everybody. This is Cognitus's factory conversion approach, Gallop. We'll be doing an overview of our deployment and our pilot, starting with the pilot. Myself, Mike Biggs, will be the host, as well as my colleague, Nitin Khanna. And we'll be walking you through the steps of how Gallop works and giving you an overview of what Cognitus has done with the factory model. So I'm sure the first question is, what is Gallop? Gallop is an S/4HANA factory approach to conversion. It's an SAP Qualified Partner Package solution. It leverages the rapid conversion methods and our experience for S/4HANA conversion. We utilize tools developed by both SAP and Cognitus, and we'll talk about those examples in the next slides. We employ a global team of rock stars that are both certified and have years of experience. And what makes the factory model so enticing and appealing is that it's implemented quickly and cost effective. Now, Gallop has several technical pieces that are important to our users, but we have a couple of offerings as well. Our Gallop Pilot, our Gallop Deployment, Gallop ProServe, Gallop DCAA Compliance, and Gallop Life Sciences. The Gallop ProServe, DCAA Compliance, and Life Sciences pieces are specific custom IMGs that are ready for our clients, along with the Gallop factory model. So it allows our clients to move into that industry space quicker from their ECC environments into S/4HANA. But again, today we'll be focusing on the Gallop Pilot and Gallop Deployment. So for Gallop Pilot, we start with our technical steps. This begins with the architecture selection. What we found for most customers is that they'll do something in the cloud, such as AWS or Azure. But if they have something on premises that works, we're happy to utilize that. From there, we do a system readiness check, ensuring that the system is ready to migrate, reviewing Unicode, and other various validation points. Then we go into a functional review and data review. We use the system's QA and or sandbox, depending on what the customer selects. We use our custom ATC tool that's developed by SAP to do the remediation and suggestions. There we migrate that QA or sandbox, which is a subset of our client's data from production, onto the S/4HANA box, using the ABAP test cockpit to fix a subset of Z programs, and then making an overall recommendation after we've done this. From there, we activate Fiori apps to give our customers a look and feel. And we have this second prong of our approach, which is to build the customer's business case and review the possible return on investment. The Gallop Pilot Factory approach, as an overview, goes through those same steps that I spoke about. Choosing the architecture and technical setup, going from ECC system into S/4HANA, reviewing the CVI data migration, the business readiness review, understanding the functional impacts, and then finally the Fiori activation. The Fiori activation is a key component to what we're doing for our clients. It helps our clients understand the usability of S/4HANA, and it ensures that they understand the experience that their business users will have. making their day-to-day operations not only more convenient and easier, but also more effective and honestly more endurable. Instead of having to punch transaction codes into SAP, there's tiles displayed for convenience. And each role is assigned to a user, and those roles have specific tiles already in the user's cockpit. It makes Fiori SAP S/4HANA a much better experience for all parties involved, all while saving money. Now, Cognitus uses a custom tool called Performer for SAP. And what Performer for SAP does is it takes your raw data from your function modules and SAP tables. It puts them into a program. So while Cognitus is doing the technical upgrade and actually migrating your system, we're running Performer on your production client. And it uses a year's worth of your data to do this. So once we have that data extraction, we put this into smart algorithms that calculates KPIs. These KPIs are then loaded into a predictive engine, and the predictive engine produces value reports. And these value reports tell us where you're going to get the most return in moving to S/4HANA. It also helps us make the business case. And on this example, 35% of invoices processed automatically can be reduced by over 1,000 hours a year. Of course, that's less headache for the user experience, but it also saves the company quite a bit of money. Performer and the typical assessment done by Cognitus is we're running Performer in the background. As we run Performer in the background, where all this data is calculated and extracted, and Cognitus is doing the actual technical migration, we're starting to build this business case. And we go through a couple of different workshops and roadmaps to help your business users understand why S/4HANA is something that we want to move to. Eventually getting to that return on investment step to understand when and how the S/4HANA investment will make sense and put money back in your pocket. Now with that, we're going to go into the deployment stage, and I'm going to pass it off to my colleague Nitin Khanna, and he'll be reviewing Gallop deployment for you. Nitin, whenever you're ready, you should be able to present.
Thanks, Mike, for giving an overview of the Gallop pilot. I'm just going to share my screen. Let me know if everybody can see my screen.
It's visible.
Okay, excellent. So as Mike mentioned about the Gallop pilot, as part of the complete portfolio of the Gallop package for migration, the second phase after assessment is Gallop deployment. Gallop deployment is the lift and shift approach to convert customers from ECC to S/4HANA in a cost-efficient manner. What makes this a qualified package by SAP is that we fix the scope, the effort, timeline, and cost. Right. So during the pilot, we do the assessment if this customer, based on predefined criteria, fits under certain criteria to migrate, then we call it small. The package has a certain timeline. 4 months is the shortest timeline we have right now. 120 days and X amount of features that we're going to be converting and fixed cost. And based on this assessment and the region of the world you are, whether it's North America, Latin America, Middle East, Asia, our regional teams will help migrate the customers from ECC to S4 in that time frame and that cost. Now, during assessment or Gallop pilot, we might also assess the customer might not be a good fit for deployment, and we might choose a greenfield approach. In that case, Gallop deployment is not the option. We'll look at a different transformation Gallop portfolio for that. scenario. So just getting into the steps, again, for the deployment piece, customer might choose to stay on-premise or might choose to go to AWS or Google Cloud or Azure. So Cognitus supports, our team supports any of these database migrations as well to the cloud or keep it on-premise. Then we go through the functional steps to convert customers. So now the functional steps, there are predefined steps that we've identified or worked with the SAP team to qualify our approach. There's including the Fiori matchmaker or the code remediation scope. All these scopes are assessed during the pilot phase. So as Mike was showing, we do a sampling of the code remediation. So in that phase, we come up with an estimate to say, for this customer, it's going to take 1,000 hours of code remediation. And we're going to use SAP's delivered code remediation tool. And there's a lot of updates on that side. So the automation that we are able to achieve now is approximately 80% of the code correction is done in an automated manner. And rest requires input by our team. So the programmers from our delivery centers do the other parts of the conversion based on the scope. And then on the migration part, we'd go through the mock conversions. SAP recommends 2 to 3 cycles. That is using the migration cockpit, as well as certain tools built by the Cognitus team, the data validation tool and reconciliation process. So I'll get into that in the next few slides. To just put in a pictorial manner as on this slide, we've got the Fiori matchmaker, the code correction with SAP ATC, security optimization, business process rationalization, as well as the data validation tool to convert customers to S4. So this is a factory delivered approach. Now, what is a factory delivered approach from quantifying the tasks? What we do is we make a chart of steps that have to be followed by different team members. This approximately there are 5 to 8 team members that are required to do the conversion. And we've got a plan and actual variances that we chart out for each task. So the key is that the resource utilization is kept as needed for the specific task. So the loading is not a full-time resource as assigned to the project. It's based on their tasks that they come in, whether it's basis, there's ABAP, there's financials, logistics, project manager and the architect are covering through all stages of the project. And all this approach that we do here is in conjunction with SAP's philosophy of SAP Activate. Okay. Here's an example of what we're showing is a Gallop factory deployment approach to convert a customer from ECC to S4. As you can see, there's different phases in here, and from blueprint to go live. And in this case, this customer was live in 5.5 months. The key differences in the factory model is, as you can see, the green boxes depict the architects that were involved in different phases on site to deliver the customer to S4, right? So you can see blueprint, realization, different integration test cycle 1, test cycle 2, and then right before the go live. And then you can see the yellow 40 hours is from the virtual factory, which is supported from different regions of the world. Now this is bringing value to the customer, so that the effort and the cost is reduced and the timeline is reduced as the teams are working 24/7. Okay. Quickly getting into the tool set, we use certain SAP delivered tools as well as the tools built by Cognitus team. So code correction tool is a SAP delivered tool, and there's a lot of updates going on in this tool. We'll get into that in a little bit, as there's quarterly updates on all these advancements that SAP provides us. Security optimizer to align how your roles will change, because as a lot of the transaction codes are being migrated to Fiori transactions, so we have to align optimization of the security roles. The business partners, there's a big change on that side, as the customer master, vendor master is translated into the business partner role. So there's a big conversion and validation part on that side that we streamline. And then the Fiori matchmaker to see which tiles are applicable for your business. As we do the performer, the assessment, at that stage, we realize which is the best value for activation of the Fiori tiles as per your business needs. And there's a POC that we quantify on which tiles to be activated with which roles. And that's also as part of the deployment package. As well as the data validation tool, which assists in reconciliation between your ECC and your S4 data in an automated manner. So this is needed for the auditors to sign off that the snapshot of what you had before you went live from ECC to S4 is the correct balances for financials, materials, logistics, and different processes. Okay, and this helps us deliver our factory model as well as with our onshore offshore delivery model. Now, along with this, there's a lot of updates and upgradation that SAP team's been doing as well with the tool set. So in a follow-on series, we have a deep dive session on all the tool sets and how they function, which are SAP delivered tools as well as Cognitus delivered tools. Even the business readiness check now has a 2.0 release, so there's updates on that part. The ABAP code correction tool with ATC support has a lot of updates. We'll be getting into those in the deep dive session as well. As well as the migration cockpit. There were a lot of advancements in 1709 release. The pre-delivered templates have increased from 30-odd templates in 1610 to 50 plus templates. And 1809 also has more updates on the migration cockpit. So all these different topics and tool sets and processes we'll cover in a deep dive session. Okay. Fiori Matchmaker, this is a key for a successful conversion with the usability features of Fiori. So our team goes through an exercise in the pilot phase to assess which Fiori tiles are needed for the customer and which are going to be included in the scope. And as part of the deployment, we activate the tiles and assign it based on the role-based framework and make sure the data, all the inputs and outputs are being addressed as per the needs. So this is a crucial part of the efficiency gains in the usability as part of the S/4HANA portfolio. Here's a few snapshots on the data validation tool and what this does. So what we've built is, as part of the data validation tool, is a cockpit. This is essentially a reconciliation cockpit to see what's to help you in the migration part and what steps have been converted, and also the flow of from a high level to a detail level. So this is a console that we've built. This connects with the RFC connection to your SAP ECC system. And we run different reports and different reconciliation processes to check and see what stage your data is converted. So as part of the different steps, we do table comparisons. Again, we have ability to choose which fields to compare. For one customer, it might make sense to compare a certain set of fields, or for another customer, those fields might not be important. So all that is configurable and based on the customer needs. So you can see, as here, we do a comparison review to see which are the number of records in ECC and S/4HANA, the number of mismatched records, certain records that exist in ECC and not in S/4HANA, and the number of records that exist in HANA if not in ECC. So now, based on these errors, we can assign workflow to different team members based on the finance team or logistics team to see who are responsible to review the error and reprocess it. So it has error handling capabilities, as well as once the conversion is done and you've assessed, reconcile the systems, we can take an output and submit it to any auditors or the teams that are reviewing this. So one of the requirements for most auditors, especially in regulated industries is that the comparison has to be done in an automated manner and to store the outputs for that. So this tool has those capabilities. And how we use this tool, we use this in an iterative approach during all the mock conversions, right? So by the time you reach your go live, there's no downtime. So that's the goal. We've achieved for one of our customers with 27 legal entities or 90 plus company codes. And I can share those details in the deep dive session. As we did the iterations, the downtime was less than a few hours before the go live. So that's the approach we take with a data validation tool. Now, the last key part of the Gallop deployment is that the team is, we have our factories in different regions of the world. So our data delivery center for the S/4HANA is in North America, is in Dallas, Texas. And then we have factories in Latin America, in Europe, in the Middle East, in India, and Asia. So the practitioners are certified by SAP doing certain training sessions that we do, called 10 Steps to S/4HANA. And then those are the practitioners that are involved in your Gallop deployment phase. Okay. Any questions so far? Mike, I'll open the bridge for questions on this overview session.
Yeah, so I can do that real quick. So what we're going to do, instead of just having people type questions, there's a Q&A piece, if you'll notice the controls at the bottom. If you've got a question, if you want to just raise your hand, I can unmute you. If not, then I'll open the floor up for any comments additional to the questions. I don't see any hands raised. So with that, I'm going to go through and allow our panelists to talk. If anybody's got any questions, now would be the time to ask them.
Yeah. Hi there. I'm dialing in from Holland. Cognitives Europe. I'm Eddie van der Laan. Hi. And I've one little question, because you mentioned in your sheet you have a location in Gorinchem in the Netherlands. Where is that?
I think probably, and I've promoted you, Rob. I think probably Rob can talk to it. He's one of our partners. And
yeah, I will check with Rob. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I will do. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, for the rest, I think it's the approach is really nice.
Okay, great.
So yeah, I have no detailed questions.
Fantastic. Well, if you do, you'd be happy to reach out to us.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done migrations from R2 to R3, and then we also had a kind of method like this. And it works quite well for customers because it's clear and it gives a clear scope and a clear approach. I think it's a good help.
And Eddie, where are you from? I'm sorry.
I'm from Cognitives Europe.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. I thought so.
Yeah.
Hi, if you have no other questions, thanks everybody for joining. And then we'll be sending the schedule for the deep dive sessions on Gallop pilot and deployment. Thanks again.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.